Hello, and welcome back to Total Aquaponics. Currently, I'm just checking on some of my seedlings that I started a little bit ago. They're currently started in my little 7-inch nano dome. I have one of my dwarf kale that I think kind of fell over. Either that or they're really trying to get at the grow lights of the main system. I haven't quite decided because none of the others are really leaning, so I think this one just fell over. And then I also have a little itty bitty baby pak choi down here that's growing outside of pretty much all media that are a little bit defiant. So I might actually transplant him today and see if I can find a system, find a place for him either in my hydroponic system or in the aquaponics system. Just a kind of quick water quality update. I dosed the system this morning with some ammonia, about 3 capfuls. So my ammonia is back up to about 1 ppm. My nitrites are still high. They may have come down a little bit, I'm not quite sure. And my nitrates are up to definitely in the kind of reddish zone. So they're in the about 40 ppm. So like if you're looking on the color card, 20 ppm is the end of the orange zone. And then once you get into 40, 80, and 160, you get into like the darker shades of red. So that's what I'm talking about when I said red zone, is just kind of the color of it. So this is definitely into the red. So I'm at least at 40 ppm, somewhere around there, which is basically where I want to be. I want to start seeing nitrates kind of develop in my system. Ideally for this system, for long-term running, I want to have enough plants in the system that the nitrates drop. I don't want them gone. I want them probably in the 5 to 10, somewhere like in the orange range. So that way, if there is a problem and they ever do drop, I'll know it, because I don't want my nitrates to reach 0. I want to know if I'm not having enough nitrates in my system and I need to make a change. So ideally somewhere in the orange zone, because seeing yellow is about 0. So I want somewhere that's easily discernible. Hey, these dropped. Even the 40 ppm mark would be fine, because the fish that I'm going to grow in here, I'm not going to eat. So the only bad part about nitrates is the nitrate buildup makes your fish taste like mud. So it's not bad for like ornamental fish, but for fish that you're going to end up eating, you want your nitrates on the low side as much as possible. Kind of moving forward, I still have algae in all my systems, and most of my plants are doing pretty good. Some of these lettuces are really starting to take to the system. They're working out pretty well, even though they're having to fight the algae a little bit. This one's doing really well. This one's kind of away from most of the algae, and it still seems to be doing pretty good. I do have some slight discoloration on like this kale plant here, where I have I don't know if the leaves are starting to die or if they're just dark, they're just completely dark. So I'm going to kind of watch that. I have that on a lot of my kale. A lot of the little itty bitty leaves, I might have just transplanted them too early, but we'll kind of go from there. I also have some basil over here. This is some of the Genovese basil. I just basically took the Grodan, I think it's a 2-inch block, and just transplanted it into my system. And then I also have some chives back there, which they're not looking too happy, but I just transplanted them recently. So I'll kind of give them some time and see how they do. Moving up to the hydroponic system, the chives that are in here seem to be doing pretty decently. I don't know how well you can see that. They're not too happy, but they're doing okay. The lettuces and everything else seem to be doing okay. I'll kind of watch them a little bit. I do have a tree overhead, so I do get some debris and stuff, little leaves and things fall in here, but so far that's doing pretty good. And I'm going to probably keep the pH a little bit high on the hydroponic system, just to keep it about on par. So it'll probably be sitting somewhere in the 7 range. I know I need to drop that down close to 6.5, but for right now, for that one, it's going to be about it. I'm going to be building another one of those hydroponic systems. I'm probably setting it up somewhere either over here. I'm going to probably move that shelf and either put it there, or I have a pile of boxes to take care of. And kind of go from there. Just kind of eat up some of the space and grow that out. I also have a 2x4 grow tray coming that I'm going to build. I haven't quite decided what kind of system I'm going to do, but I'm going to build a hydroponic system for inside for my basement where it is cold, so I will have to deal with temperatures a little bit better, but I'll kind of go with that too a little bit. And if that doesn't work out, I'll bring it out here and I'll turn it into like a raft bed and put it on like the end of year, so that way the water would flow from like this clean out drain into a raft bed and then eventually back into my system. I definitely have the height. I have probably almost 2 feet of height between where this pipe is and the top of my reservoir. So I definitely have the height to be able to do a couple raft beds if I wanted to, or something else in here. One of the other things I was thinking about doing was growing duckweed to kind of help supplement my fish diet, and also to use up some of the nitrates in the system, because these 4 2x3 beds I don't think are going to cut it. I think I'm going to have too many nitrates in my system, is my feeling. Traditionally, that's what I ran into. But it's nice because this works as my source system, and then I can expand and add on NFT systems or whatever else using the water from this system. My other valves also came today, so I will be replacing this probably today or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow, actually, to get rid of the ball valve there. So that way I have the nice little big valves on all these that will adjust my timing a little bit. One of the things I am watching, and I kind of ran into, is my water level in here fluctuates. It fluctuates probably about an inch or so. So if you're looking on here, I like my water level to be on that green line. So I just kind of use this as my water level. Like if I put it there, right now, it's kind of hard to see. We're about good. We're at that green line. So, but I'll see it drop as far as this about 10. So it'll fluctuate by about an inch. So it'll drop down to about this 10. So it'll fluctuate by about an inch. And that's not really the worst thing in the world. The fish will tolerate that. But depending on how many fish I have in this system, being only a 55-gallon tank, that could start becoming a problem. So we'll kind of watch that for the time being. I do have a few spiders that kind of move into my system. I had a wolf spider in here that I had to go find a new home for earlier today, because he liked to, I don't know if you can kind of see it, I don't know how well this is going to show up on video. You can kind of see those water droplets suspended. He ended up making an entire basically nest right above this one kale plant. So I might leave him, but we'll see. I transplanted him for now. I'm sure he will be back. So we'll kind of do that. But that's just kind of a quick update. Like I said, my water quality is doing pretty decently. I did add on nitrates, and I'm going to watch them, see how they're doing in the morning, see if they're dropped down, and see how they're doing tomorrow afternoon, and see if they come back down at a decent rate. Like I said, once nitrates start getting down low enough, I'll be fine. And then nitrites are starting to drop now. Those eventually get under control, and then ammonia is the biggest thing. Once I get to the point that ammonia starts dropping to a decent level, within 24 hours, I'll be ready for fish, and I'll start with my tilapia. Honestly, right now, I'm probably about good for fish. If I really wanted to, I could at least order them, seeing it'll take a little bit to get them here, but I'll kind of run with that. The other thing I still run into is this pump right now. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Currently the water level is pretty low. It is right now not sucking air because this over here is starting to drain, but it does occasionally suck air, and you can hear it. That's that little almost like burping or chirping sound that you heard maybe a minute ago on the video. I don't know how well that'll come out, but it does suck air occasionally. You can watch it in here, some of those air bubbles. So right, and there's the sound. So it is sucking air a little bit. It's not the end of the world, like I said, because it's very brief, because my beds are timed pretty decently. I'll try to finite that and get rid of that mostly once I can replace that last valve and I have a more granular control of where all these are. My humidity in here stays pretty good. My temperature's a little high. It's closer to 84 most of the time, but that's mostly because of summer, and I'm not too worried right now about the overall temperature. I do want to see how well my temperatures do in the winter time, and that's part of that's the whole point of why this system's out here. But I will also contrast that against my basement system, which I will have to deal with at least an aquarium heater down there. But I'm going to try to keep that system as compact as possible. So I have a really cool LED grow light that I'm going to use that should cover pretty much the entire 2x4 bed. I'm not sure if I want to. I'm going to probably start with an irrigation system on a timer, just kind of initially to keep the power low. And I'll also probably only run the grow light most likely at night, maybe a little bit more than that. I'm going to probably use Mylar to kind of build a PVC and Mylar frame around it, and then keep it nice and simple. And I'll go over that once I build that. And like I said, if it doesn't hack it, I have no problem turning it into setting up a system somewhere here, clearing some of this stuff out, and setting up a DWC or a deep water culture bed or something else of the like out here, just to kind of help. I plan on doing that eventually anyways, because I want to be able to grow some duckweed out here. One of the things I was even thinking, even though I like being able to get behind here, is I have a gap of about a little over a foot, but I could build a kind of trough out of some scrap lumber and get some like 8-foot 2x6s or something, or even 2x4s. Honestly, it'd probably be fine for duckweed, and build a just a DWC slow moving bed and put like a 1/4-inch tap in my main line here, and just use like push fit like air hose connectors, kind of like what we use for the water for the RO system, and just use valves like that to be able to control the water flow to it. And that way I would have the system run along the back here, and then I can have it go to a drain and drain in the back end of that sump tank. So that's kind of my plans for the system. Some of this is going to just grow as I'm kind of going at it. Right now I started with plants. These guys, like I said before, are probably sacrificial. I'm not sure how well they'll do. The kale is definitely having some struggles over here. These guys over here are doing pretty good, but if you see, there's some brownness on the edge of the lines, but some of that is I don't have all the nutrients in my system yet that they really need to grow. Here's a look at another kale that's struggling. Come on, you gonna focus? It's gonna be kind of hard, but it's struggling pretty hard. But for the most part, these seem to be doing mostly okay. I do have a lettuce in here that's a little bit on the brown side. There you go. Some of that is also this light, so here, let me cut this light real quick. So it's not as brown as it looks, but that the one on the left there is definitely brown. It's sort of more of a reddish color. So I'll kind of see what it is. It shouldn't be the type of lettuce I have, but it could be, because this one's got the same kind of thing going on. It's got a little bit of a reddish in the stem. So I'll watch for that and kind of see how we're doing. This one's got it pretty bad. This one, I think the roots just got exposed. Yeah. So if you see this one right here, that one's probably toast. It's definitely a dark red, dark brown. And some of that just could be transplant shock. Those ones just might be toast. I could have damaged the roots when I was transplanting them, because these ones were just plucked out of the Rockwell cubes once they looked big enough. So some of these might have taken damage to their roots. Versus like this one, like I said, the goal for my system is to do something along the lines of this, is just start them in a cube and then be able to transplant them cube and all into the system. I like using Rockwell. I have some Grodan AOK starter plugs is what I'm actually starting the rest of my plants in. So these guys are done in these little 1.5 or 2-inch blocks. Actually, I think these ones are the 1.5. And I'm just kind of seeing how they're doing. I have one sugar snappy actually. He's doing pretty good. But I'm going to start a lot of these in some form of Grodan. I am doing an AOK starter plugs in the house with a AOK tray from Grodan to get me a nice healthy root development inside the plug, so that way it's a lot easier to transplant. And then I'm using the AOK plugs because they'll be really easy to transplant into the 2-inch net cups that I have on my little vertical hydroponic system, as well as it'll be really easy to just transplant into any media system. So I'm going to kind of run with that. I may try doing the hydroponic purist way of using the AOK plugs and then having those transplant into like 4-inch blocks, and then once those get too big, into the Grodan slabs. And I might even, like I said, I'm going to probably start with an irrigation system just to kind of be able to control that. And then if that doesn't work, I can move it to a flood and drain, and if I really want, I can put it into a DWC system out here. So that's just a relatively lengthy update actually today. Just kind of going over some of my plans, going over some of the plants. And oh look, I have another little dude down here. I have a couple of these, like when I was planting them, there's a couple seeds that kind of fell off, and some of them, this guy here is definitely being defiant. So I'm going to probably transplant him today. He looks like he has a pretty decent root system, so I'm going to transplant him today and see what he's doing. The rest of these guys I'm going to let grow for a little while longer. I'm going to give them a soaking in probably a day or two, to help get them to grow a little bit more, or maybe even today. And I'm just going to run from there. So that's just an update for today. Again, this is day 19, and this is Toledo Aquaponics. Thank you.